Good evening. This is the first YouTube International Studies 2000 discussion of 2013. The date is September 18th, 2013. And we've got Amy right here on the steps, Evan, and Ashley Taylor. We're going to be discussing realism and how it's relevant to our lives. We all have kind of different opinions about it, since we don't exactly, know specifically how it does relate to our lives, but we're gonna
figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out. Evan?
So I'm going to start with this whole thought that realism is very antagonistic to our society and to our political institutions. Specifically the Cold War, you can see how the United States and the Soviet Union were just trying to flex their muscles at one another and show who has the greatest military prowess and who could actually survive a nuclear strike, and I think that these antagonistic views of war and just terror have kind of evolved. I think mainly competitively speaking. I think that it manifests itself in our society today as America is slowly falling behind other nations like China in business or in education or in the weapons race with Russia, which still lingers. So I think that you could still see traces of the antagonistic perspectives of realism in our society today.
Realism is based, from what I've read, is based on power and how much power you think your nation and state has compared to other nations and states, and basically thinking yours is superior based on the resources you have. A recent example we read about was George W. Bush was the most recent political leader to use realism in everyday life, and I think this had to relate with his need for the most powerful government at his time of presidency and feeling the need to be the most powerful, which honestly I don't think has worked too well since then.
I think that realism is a great example of how we, as a founding nation, have created an inaccessible system to the general public, as the name realism is actually quite pretentious and academic and is not indicative of what the general public would think the word realism means. So it creates an impossible discussion as it's based on a lot of theories that are not intuitive or realistic, and therefore add to an entire database of information that very few people can actually get their hands on and relate to their lives. Andy, what do you think?
Well, I specifically took this class so maybe I could learn a little bit more about these subjects, and since I'm pretty ignorant on the subject in general, and really realism is kind of a hard concept to grasp because I don't see it in my everyday life. And as Amy said here, George W. was some sort of a realist a few years back when he was president. And anyway, I don't understand how it really relates to our lives right now. So the theory says that states seek to, gain the most power, and they want to be the most powerful state, and they're competing with all these other states. And I'm just I'm not sure. I'm not saying too much here. Sorry, guys. Anyway, you know,
And these are our thoughts and perspectives on realism as we have discussed them today and for the past hour and a half. And we are glad that we got to share these with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Professor. You rock.
Later, James.
Little